Hari Om. Reflection on Param Poojya Gurudev's names, some names by Poojya Swami Aparajitananda, published in the issue of Vedanta Vani in August 2024. Poojya Swami, Poojya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, as I see him. Om Karma Parayana Namaha. Prostrations to the one who ever engaged himself in selfless service for the welfare of all. Jnana, Karma, Bhakti, knowledge, devotion and service, they go together. The one who knows the self cannot but love everyone. The one who loves everyone cannot but serve everyone. Poojya Gurudev expressed his devotion to the Lord by serving the Lord in man. Once he said to the mission members, "For me, the Lord Himself is present in the form of the listeners. So when I give a talk, I invoke the Lord seated in the hearts of the devotees. Thus, a talk for me is nothing but the worship of the Lord." Once Gurudev had just arrived in Shimoga, Karnataka, where one of his talks was to be held. He asked the organizers, "Is my puja samagri ready?" Samagri means materials used and refers to the items used by the priests in puja, such as bell, lamp, oil, sacred rice, sandalwood paste, flowers, fruits, etc. The devotees were puzzled. They had never seen Gurudev too much into ritualistic worship. To those confused devotees, Gurudev smiled and asked, "Are my table, writing pad, pen, typewriter, envelopes and table lamp ready? That is my puja samagri." During one of Gurudev's camps at Siddhavadi ashram, a group of devotees always remained as near as possible to Guru Swamiji's, helping as they would with stuffing envelopes for his correspondence and with other small talks. They watched him day in and day out, staying up as late as midnight and being up again at 4 or 4:30 in the morning, writing letters at his desk. Gurudev would be thrilled to receive letters, and it was a pleasure to observe how he replied. When he read and replied to a letter, it was as if the person was in front of him and he was talking to him or her. He wrote the letter, and until it was typed, signed, folded properly, and put in the envelope, he was there until it was completed. He would receive letters of great variety. Some asked for an article by him, many held queries on Vedanta, and many others asked for help with a problem. The moment he read the letter, he did not have to think for a while like others had to do. He would read the letter and would just start dictating, sometimes 5, sometimes 10 pages. While writing, he was very relaxed. He would sometimes suddenly stop talking and close his eyes. After a good many days of watching his schedule, one of the devotees once lovingly asked a question, "Swamiji, we have watched you working on an average 18 hours a day. Don't you ever get tired? Swamiji burst forth with one of his characteristic deep throat laughs and said, if I were doing the work, I would have long been exhausted, not just tired. But he pointed to the sky, with Lord Narayan himself doing the work. Why should I get tired? Prostrations unto Poojya Gurudev, who taught us how to convert work into worship and thus evolve from the material to the spiritual plane. Om Karma Parayanaya Namaha. Om Anushasana Priyaya Namaha. Prostrations to the one who loved discipline. In every aspect of Poojya Gurudev, this quality of discipline was seen. In his measured speech, to the point, logical, and at once convincing, we saw discipline. In his discourses, in the precise short time and start time and finish time, we saw discipline. In the thought flow of his discourses, we saw discipline. In his daily routine, we saw discipline. In his eating habits, we saw discipline. In managing the financial matters of Chinmay Mission, we saw discipline. In promptly responding to letters of the devotees, we saw discipline. In his moral and ethical values, we saw discipline. In front of his gurus and senior Mahatmas, we saw in him utter obedience and discipline. In running the Chinmay mission and in handling various administrative issues, we saw in Poojya Gurudev unwavering discipline. Once, some centers in India wrote to Gurudev for an advice on what they could do to reduce, if not totally eliminate, absenteeism from the weekly study classes. Poojya Gurudev asked to implement the following rules. Sickness, no excuses based on sickness are acceptable to Chinmay Mission study centers. We will no longer accept your doctor's certificate as proof of illness, since we firmly believe that if you are able to go to a doctor for consultation, you are surely fit to our classes. If you received your medical certificate through a phone call or through an agent, please send us the doctor's name and address along with your apology for your absence. Death other than your own, the death of friends or relations, cannot be a sufficiently valid reason, as it is then too late to do anything for those concerned. We are sure someone else can take care of the necessary arrangements. You may be so kind as to come to the study class and let us pray for the departed. This will be a more fitting service to the beloved one who has left than your following the full sheath, physical body, to the cremation ground. Death your own. This will be accepted as a very reasonable and valid excuse, but we would like to have at least a week's notice to check whether you have paid all dues and subscriptions. You who are group leaders should give a week's notice, and during that week train other member of the group to take up your work. Interruptions during the study class. We would like to discourage people from coming late. Our humble prostrations to Poojya Gurudev, who taught the value of discipline by remaining in discipline. Om Anushasana Priyaya Namaha. Om Vinayashilaya Namaha. Prostrations to the one whose very nature is humility. The sign of true knowledge is humility. Vidya dadati vinayam. Just like water cannot gather on the mountain peaks, so too knowledge cannot stay in the arrogant hearts. Just like a rusted iron does not feel the pull of the magnet, so too a mind filled with the rust of ego never feels attracted towards the Lord. Hence, humility and knowledge always go together. This was in the year 1972 to 1974. The Brahmachari course in the Sandipani Sadhanalaya was in progress. Poojya Gurudev informed all the students that a great Mahatma was coming to bless them. His name was Swami Gangeshwaranandaji Maharaj. Gangeshwaranandaji Maharaj. He was very old and completely blind. On the previous day itself, all the arrangements had been made in the temple. The stage was arranged and the garlands were procured. Gurudev himself came to supervise all the arrangements. When his attention fell on the two chairs kept on the dais, he asked, "Why two chairs?" One of the brahmacharis replied, "Swamiji, one is for you." Swamiji said, "For me, on the stage. When Poojya Swamiji comes, I will not be sitting on the stage. Remove the chair." The next day, when Swami Gangeshwaranandaji Maharaj arrived, everybody went near the entrance. Gurudev ran across the temple steps like a child to receive him. The visiting Swami was taken to the Jagadishwara temple and received with Purna Kumbha and garland. Swami Gangeshwarananda sat on the single chair on the stage. Gurudev sat just below him at his feet. He then asked Poojya Swamiji to bless the students with his words of wisdom. Later, Gurudev, with all humility and reverence, then started massaging Swamiji's legs and busied himself with other aspects of Guru Seva. It was a great eye-opener for all the brahmacharis how they should be in the presence of holy personages, how they should conduct themselves, and how they should serve them. Poojya Gurudev had great reverence and regard for his Gurudev, Swami Tapovanam Maharaj. Gurudev would say, "Whatever I am is only because of my Guru." While speaking about Swami Tapovanam Maharaj, Poojya Gurudev would become like a child. While recollecting the treasured moments with his Guru, his eyes would become moist. When Gurudev travelled to Uttarkashi from New Delhi, he would take out his japamala and say, "I am travelling to my Guru's place, and so I must continuously do my japa." Our humble prostrations unto Poojya Gurudev, who showed us that the true sign of wisdom is being humble. Om Vinayashilaya Namah. prostrations unto the one who remains an indifferent witness to all worldly happenings. Pujya Gurudev taught us how to remain in the thick of the world and still be unaffected by the world. Padma Patram Iva Ambhasa, like the lotus leaf in water. A devotee asked Pujya Gurudev, Swamiji, we are samsaris, worldly people. We have possessions and positions, friends and relatives, duties and responsibilities. How can we samsaris ever progress in spirituality? Pujya Gurudev, the head of hundreds of Chinmay mission institutions worldwide, laughed aloud and said, if worldly activities are to determine a samsari, I should be the greatest samsari. How to remain in the world and yet remain unaffected by the world? Pujya Gurudev taught us, hold on to the permanent in you and play in the realms of the impermanent. Hold on to your real identity, the eternal Sakshi witnessing consciousness in you, and play your role in the drama of the ephemeral Jagat world. A devotee asked Swamiji, who is a samsari? Gurudev replied, the one who is behind samsari. Samsari is samsari. When we get very much attached to the creation, samsar, and forget the creator, we become samsari. Thanks to the tireless efforts of Pujya Gurudev, for almost 4 decades, Chinmay Mission has grown to become a worldwide organization with hundreds of branches and thousands of devotees all over the world. A journalist excited to meet the founder of this popular and successful organization approached Gurudev and asked, Swamiji, are you the head of Chinmay Mission? Prompt came the reply from Gurudev, no, I am the tail. Pujya Gurudev used to say, abide in the Lord and you become an efficient instrument in His hands. At the age of 75, even when Gurudev's heart was functioning at only 18%, he was active 18 hours a day. Even with his falling health, Gurudev's day was fully packed with discourses, meetings, responding to letters, world tours, etc. An army officer, unable to believe this, once asked Gurudev, Swamiji, what is the source of your inspiration? Gurudev, knowing his nature, answered in his language, while you take Ram, I take Ram. In his latter days, an ailing Gurudev, who was by then old and weak, was approached by an old lady. She expressed her concern. Swamiji, are you not worried? What will happen to Chinmay Mission after you are gone? Gurudev gave a loud laugh and said, Amma, Chinmay Mission is his vision, his decision, his implementation. And if he feels society is benefited from the mission, he will ensure its future extension and expansion. Why should we go through worry and tension? The Bhagavad Gita says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvavit. The state of a knower of the self is I don't do anything. Our humble prostrations to Poojya Gurudev, who taught us how to abide in the witnessing self within and escape the worldly entanglements without of doership and enjoyership of repeated birth death cycle. Om Tat Sat. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. परम पूज्य गुरुदेव स्वामी चिन्मयानंद सरस्वती महाराजाय नमः.